let's talk about what is a stream, how do we use it, and what are the important methods related to stream, and where can we use streams. To start with, stream is quite different from IO stream. IO stream is just a sequence of bytes, and those bytes may be coming from a device like keyboard, or it might be a program, or it might be a file in the file system. But stream is a collection of objects, a stream of objects. So you visualize a stream as a collection of objects. So here we are having a set of objects. And very importantly, stream is not storing any data. Stream is not storing any data. The data is actually stored in some other object like a list, an array list or an array, or sometimes even in a file, in the file system. So the data is not stored in the stream. The stream is only taking the data from some other source, but what it allows you to do is apply operations on the stream. So let's say we have the data in the form of an array. So the array is where we have all the objects. And we can convert an array or create a stream from the array. And this is a stream. So we get a stream from an array. And now I can apply some operations on this stream. So I can apply an operation called filter, for example. Filter is one of the operations. And when we apply filter operation, it is going to produce another stream after filtering the objects. So if you have 5 objects in the stream to start with, after you filter that, where you are selecting a few objects, you will be getting something like only 4 objects. So it is possible that you select only a few objects using filter. This is another stream. So you are creating a new stream from an existing stream. And that new stream is containing only a few objects that are available in the original stream, because it's about filtering, selecting only a few. And then you may want to apply another operation on that. That is something like sorting. You may want to sort the stream, and now it gives another stream. So you get one more stream, and this is where the elements are in the order, whatever order you want. So there is another stream. Now these 2 operations, filter, sort, like that you have lots of operations. These operations are known as intermediate operations. These intermediate operations always produce another stream. So these 2 are intermediate operations. Intermediate. So these 2 are intermediate operations, both this filter and sort. And these intermediate operations always produce one more stream. And then finally, you may want to apply an operation that is going to consume, or that is going to use your stream and does not produce any more stream. So you may want to consume this stream, and if you apply an operation that doesn't produce another stream, then that is called as terminal operation. So we are talking about terminal operation. So the terminal operation might be something like consuming each element from the stream for each. For each is saying it is going to consume each element of the stream. And what it does, it's up to you. Okay, it might print everything, or it might store it somewhere. It might do anything that is required. So it's a terminal operation. So we are talking about intermediate operations and then terminal operations. Terminal operations are the ones which consume the stream. There won't be any more stream once you apply terminal operation. But all intermediate operations are producing one more stream. So we take the data from a container like array. We create a stream. We have methods to do that. In fact, you can create a stream from many containers. Like you can create a stream from a list, from an array, from a file, and a lot of other things are producing streams nowadays. In fact, Java is getting very aggressive regarding streams by providing you a lot of streams, because with the help of these intermediate operations, you can manipulate stream whichever way you like. As we will see some examples, you understand how these intermediate operations work. So finally, you have to use one of the terminal operations. This is one of the terminal operations called for each. Okay, so you have a stream. You can apply some operations, come out with some new streams, and then eventually you can apply a terminal operation where you take the data from the stream and do something with that. But once you consume what is there in the stream, that's it. You don't have any more data in the stream. The data in the stream is consumed by terminal operation. Okay, let's see an example for all this. I have an array of strings. So this is an array, and I have an array of strings. Nothing great, it's just an array of strings containing names. I want to print all these names in sorted order. That's also not a big deal. But I want to take only those names that have more than 4 letters, 4 or more letters. So I want to first select only a few names that have greater than or equal to 4 letters, then sort those names and print them. So to do that, this is what we have to do. Let's start with our first task. We are talking about converting an array to a stream using stream method of arrays class. As I told you, you get a stream from many things. So we are getting a stream from an array, and to do that we use arrays. You know, arrays is a class, stream is a static method, names is the name of the array, and we got a stream here. This is giving us a stream. So once we get a stream there, then we want to apply the first intermediate operation, filter. The filter operation is saying it is going to select only those names where the length is greater than or equal to 4. This is where we are using lambda. Well, in case if you are not comfortable with lambda, you need to first understand lambda. Only then you can come to this, because in this context we use lambdas left and right. So you need to be comfortable with lambda and also things like method reference and so on. So this is where I'm saying take each and every name and if the length of that is greater than or equal to 4, select it. In fact, whenever you think of lambda, you know you're thinking of an interface. Now that interface is actually predicate. So filter says it takes predicate, and this predicate is a functional interface. And that functional interface is having a single method that is test. It takes an object and it must return Boolean. So that's exactly what we are expected to do here. We want an expression that is going to return Boolean because the abstract method in this interface is supposed to return Boolean. So we want to select only those names where the length is greater than or equal to 4. So this returns true or false. That's exactly what we want. So you can alternatively create a class that implements predicate interface, define a method called test, and inside the test you write the code which eventually returns a Boolean. Of course, it uses this object. This is the object that is to be either selected or rejected. If you want to select it, return true. If you want to ignore it, return false. So that is how you can apply an intermediate operation on the string. That intermediate operation is producing one more string. So here I get this, and that. Except these two, the remaining are selected. So out of 7 names, we are selecting 5 and leaving out 2. And next step is to sort. This is another intermediate operation. This intermediate operation works on the stream produced by the previous operation. Filter is producing a stream that we sort. And once it produces the same stream in the sorted order, then that stream will go to the next step where we are applying a terminal operation. For each is a terminal operation. So in for each, what we do, we want to consume every element that is present in the string. So for each is saying you need to provide consumer. What is consumer? Another interface, another functional interface, consumer. And this consumer is where we are having a method called accept. It takes the object, it consumes it, means it does something. It might print it or it might do something else, but it doesn't return anything. So the consumer is another functional interface. This functional interface is consuming each and every element of the stream. So what am I doing here? I'm saying I'm not writing any lambda. Instead, I want to use method reference. Well, as you know, this can be replaced with something like this. For example, I can say n, and then I can say system.out.println of n. That's fine. It still works. But when all that you need to do is call a method, you can as well use method reference syntax. If you use method reference syntax, that's going to be simpler. But choice is yours. So if you want to print, for example, everything in uppercase, or if you want to print something else, not just the name directly, in such cases, you have to go with the lambda. But if you just want to display as it is, maybe it's a better option to use method reference like this. Just need to give this. That's it. You're done. And now you can go and run it. And when you run, you see the names in sorted order. We are getting only those names where the length is greater than or equal to 4. You can give any condition there. It's up to you. You might want to take the names that contain letter A. And in that case, you're not going to get a lot of them. You get only 2 of them. Because you don't have A in Python, in C# and others. So filter is one of the operators. It is called intermediate operator. Then you can go there and see, look at that. It is saying predicate. Okay, predicate is the interface. And when you click on predicate, you can see predicate interface is having test. That is the method we have in this functional interface, and it was introduced in 1.8, means Java 8. And similarly, this for each is saying it is another functional interface. It's terminal operation. Look at that. It is a terminal operation and it is expecting consumer. And if you go and then click on consumer, you will get the information. And there you have something called accept. You need to know what is the abstract method that is provided by these functional interfaces, because only when you know the abstract method, you know what to do, how to handle it, because you need to know what the method is taking as parameters, what it returns as the return type. Now, if you're wondering how does it work, you know, println is taking a string as a parameter. That's exactly what we are trying to call here. So what we call here is the println that takes a string and it returns nothing. That's exactly the context. Because for each is expecting a function that takes a string and returns nothing. And your println of print stream is exactly matching that. That's the reason we can give this. Because the concept of method reference is give a method which is having the same signature as the method we have in this functional interface. So consumer is saying the method is accept. It takes a string, returns nothing. So println also is taking a string and returning nothing. So it is a match to that. It suits that. This is a very simple example, but it does show you how we use intermediate operations and terminal operation, and how we convert an array of strings to a stream of strings. And look at this method. It is telling you it returns a stream of strings. Look at that. So it returns a stream of strings. And then you can apply all these operations. It is also possible that you take only a few elements from the stream, or you skip a few elements, and you can convert each and every element to something else. So a lot of things can be done. For example, let us say we want to get the sum of the numbers, but the numbers are not in the form of integers, they are in the form of strings. So let's go and see something like that. Okay, I'm going to create a new demo, and then we say total marks. Let's turn this on. So here we talk about an array. So we have an array of strings, marks, and then we have marks like 50 and then 70. They're all strings. They're stored as strings. So we talk about some marks. That's it. Now what I need to do is get the total of these marks. I want to get the total. Well, I can create a loop that is going to take each and every element convert that to integer, add it to total. But the same can be done with the streams. So arrays dot stream of marks. Now this is a stream of strings. And this time I'm not interested in filtering. But you see, I have hell a lot of options. All these are the methods. We can use these methods, any of them. You can skip a few entries. You can sort them. And you can take them only as long as a condition is satisfied. Or you can convert them. This is what we want. Map to integer. We want to convert each and every object to integer. So we need to now implement map to int function. So map to int function is an interface. You need to implement that interface and you need to implement the method inside the interface, that is apply as int. But I don't need to implement that interface. Define the method. Again, we go for lambda. This is the string and we want to convert that to integer. So how do we do it? Integer dot parse int of x. Done. You got it. So you are actually converting something like an array of strings to a stream of strings first. The stream of strings is then converted to a stream of integers. Look at that, int string. So now you have a stream of integers because you applied this function map to int. And this is creating a stream of integers. And once you got the stream of integers, then what do we do? Okay, here we are talking about then getting the total. We say sum. That's it. We get the sum. And this is going to give me the sum. But what it gives you? It gives you integer. There you are. It's giving an integer. So you can take that into variable like this. You can put it in this way, or you can just do it in this way. And I prefer to put them one below the other. I think that makes it more readable for me. This is what we want. And finally, you print it. System.out.println total. That's it. So if you go ahead and then run this program, you're going to see the total for that. So what am I doing? I'm taking this array, converting that to string, and converting each and every string or each and every object in the stream to integer using this. And before you do that, if you want to have any filter, you can. Maybe you want to have a filter. Why? Maybe some of these numbers are not valid and you don't want to consider them. Maybe there are numbers that are having value more than 100. If the value is more than 100, you are not interested in that. Then you convert everything and come here and filter it. Simple. Just take the number, and if it is less than or equal to 100, only then you consider that. So the sum is not going to change because this is filtered out. I don't need to take that. So go ahead and run this and you're going to see the same result because we are not taking this into account. So we are not taking this into account and we are filtering it. But if you want to filter it before you do that, that's also possible. You can filter before and after also. There's no limit to what you can do. You can do a lot. Maybe you have a value which is not valid. Like this. You have ABC. Now, if you try to run this program blindly now, you run into trouble. Because you can't convert ABC to integer, number format exception. So this is throwing an exception. So before I take the value, I want to make sure it is a valid number. So I can use a filter to select only those numbers, those strings which contain digits. So it is possible for us to do that. How do you do it? Again, you can use filter. You can use filter or you can use a lot of other possibilities, but let's go with filter. So this is the string. And I need to now create the expression which selects only if the string contains digits. Well, I can create another function for that. So I say public static void, not void, sorry, boolean is number, and it takes a string. And I need to know whether it is consisting of digits. So can we use regular expression for that? Why not? You can say return pattern dot matches. The regular expression is going to be double backslash d plus, means one or more digits. If that is the case, it returns true, otherwise it returns false. Okay, you don't need to even create a function like this. You can directly use this expression here. But if you create a function, well, the advantage with function, you can add more functionality later. You can add a lot more to that. And instead of just going with that, you can think of more. In fact, you can say consider only one or two digits. Anything more than two digits, you can simply ignore. Such additional things can be added there. Okay, for now, I can directly call it. How do you call it? You have to use again total marks double colon is number. Method reference. So you consider only those strings where you have digits. So if you have something that is not a digit, that is not a collection of digits, you are going to ignore that. This XY should be ignored, ABC should be ignored, and the rest of them should be converted to numbers. But again, only those numbers less than or equal to 100 should be considered. I'm just trying to give you some examples where you understand what is the true potential of your streams concept, but where you can apply is unlimited. You can use streams in many contexts, especially we see a lot of other API is producing streams so that you can use streams everywhere. Now you can think of removing this and then slightly modifying this. How do you modify? Well, the problem is you can't say if it is just two digits because somebody might get 100 out of 100. Then we need to consider 100. So you can't just simply say take only the strings with the two digits. Even three digits are valid, but those three digits cannot be more than 100. So it's not right to squeeze that condition into this. But if you want to do that in this function, yes, you can. Okay, you can do whatever you like here. Because, you can apply even full-blown conversion with exception handling and all sorts of things. Eventually, you are going to return true or false. If something can be done simply, do it simply. But if something demands more work, yes, go ahead and apply that. So what are the things we are doing here? We are getting a stream here, then converting that to integer, and then again we are filtering. And finally we are getting the sum. But if you want to get the average of the numbers, it's also very simple. You just need to change this to average. So you just need to calculate average. But there is a small problem here. Average is not going to give you a double. It gives you what is called as optional double. of late we got something called optional double in Java, optional data types. So optional double is a data type that may contain double or that may also contain null value. So what we need to do is take this and then you have to get the double value from that. You have to use total because this is going to be optional double and say get as double, then you get the double value. Go ahead, run, you get the average marks, 74. So first select only numbers and then convert those strings to integers, the strings that contain digits. Look at the way regular expression can be used. It's awesome. Regular expressions play a very important role in validation. If you want to check whether the data is in the way you want, regular expression is the way to go. And once you got the numbers, again filter based on the numeric value, get the average, and it is going to give you optional double. From there you take a normal double. That's the way you do it. So this is how you can create a stream and you can apply intermediate and then terminal operation. And average is a terminal operation. You can clearly see that here. Okay, it is saying it's a terminal operation because it gives you a value. It doesn't give you a string. So that's about how to make use of streams. It's just tip of the iceberg. You have a lot of other methods which you can use, but we have seen how to map, how to sort, how to filter, and how to consume using for each. And then this is average, which is another terminal operation. Even sum is a terminal operation. Okay, if you're wondering, is it that we get data only from an array? No, we can get the data from anywhere. So let us see an example where we want to take the names from a file, names.txt, or rather all the lines. Look at this. Lines is saying, we have seen something called read all lines. You may remember that. Read all lines is actually giving you what is called as a list of strings, a list. But lines is giving you a stream. So give the path. This is the path. Okay, you might want to separate it, something like that, just to make things little easier. So take the path, and this is the file. And then I want to give the path here. It gives me a stream. Then I want to take only those lines where we have either space or alphabets. So one or more alphabets or space. That's what we want to consider. So take only those lines where matches is returning true. Means only the lines which contain alphabets and spaces. If you have any digits or some other punctuations, we don't consider them. Sort them and print them. And if you have a file here, then you're going to get all of them in the sorted order, like this. So you just need to take all the lines in the form of a stream and then apply whatever you like, and then sort and then print. But you might add a little more. You might say you want to take only a few of them. So you can take only a few of them. So how do you do that? So here I can use, if you see, this is a body. And you can take the count. The count is about the number. It will give you the number of entries you have in the stream, You can take the distinct values. Sometimes you want to take only unique values. And then you are talking about something else. Like you see here, let me go down. And if you go down limit, this is going to tell you how many you want to take. So from these lines, I want to take only first 4 lines. Then I can say limit 4. So take the lines, select only those lines where we have alphabets and spaces, sort them, take only first 4, and then print them. So go ahead, run. You get it. In case if you feel there could be some duplicates, you can even give distinct values. So you want to take only distinct values after that. And those distinct values are to be sorted. And then you need to take only the first 4 and print them. So it goes on and on. There are so many methods provided by Stream. There is no limit to what you can do. You just need to understand what each method is expected to do and understand what are the parameters, what type of interface it expects. And if the interface is a functional interface, you can apply either lambda expression or you can apply method reference, whatever you like. So this is where we get the data from a file. Well, but once you consume the stream, you can't use it anymore. So once you take the stream and consume it, it is not to be used again. Now what I mean, let's see this. So if you take this, let's just separate this from the rest and we say stream. This is the stream. And then I can apply that stream here. We say stream dot filter. And the rest of the things. This is fine. We can use that. We got the stream, and then if you try to use the stream again after that, let's say stream, and then for each, and then system dot out double colon print ln. So if you try to do this, then you will get an error. This is where the stream is already completely consumed, so we'll not be able to do anything. Let's say print ln printing names. Already we have printed names, remember? And we are trying to print names again. Let's go run it. So there you are. You are saying you are trying to use a stream that is already operated upon or closed. So a stream does not contain the data. It's not like an array list or an array where the data is present in the container. A stream does not contain the data. The stream is just taking the data from some other container. So once you consume the stream, there is no data available, so you can't do this. Okay, so this is to show you that once you take the data from stream, you can't use this anymore. It's one-time process. It's not like an array list where you have the data, so you can read the data as many times as you want. But stream is not container of data. It only takes data from other sources, and once you consume it, you can't use it anymore. So I hope you understood that point. So this is to demonstrate that you can't reuse a stream once it is completely consumed. So this is about how we can create a stream and how you can make use of stream. And you have so many other interesting methods providing you streams, and you can use those methods and streams to perform whatever operations you like. So hope you understood what a stream is all about. and hope you liked it and you will play with streams and have great fun.